Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Benoit, and today we're talking about collection development. Our first topic is collection policy. Here are three essential reasons to have a collection policy in place in your library. The first is an acquisition policy. This provides guidance in the acquisition, processing, and cataloging of materials. I want to make sure that I create a policy that clearly explains how acquisition processes will be conducted. By having a policy in place, this will help avoid haphazard patterns of acquisition that will result in waste and overlap of content. I also want to make sure that the policy clearly defines how materials are processed and cataloged. This will inevitably save funds and ensure that my library has materials that provide diverse perspectives. Next is a collection maintenance policy. This provides a standard for collection maintenance and the removal of library resources that are out of date, in poor condition, rarely used, or no longer fit the needs of library patrons. I want to create a policy that aids in weeding and deselection of materials. The policy will ensure that books that are removed are no longer fitting the purpose of the library. There will be a reconsideration policy and process attached to ensure that books that are being removed are not due to self-censorship. Furthermore, the policy will help create space in the library for new texts that will meet the needs for ever-changing populations of students each year. Finally, a challenge and reconsideration policy. This establishes a process by which individuals may share their concerns about library resources with the librarian, or if the concerns are unresolved, evokes a formal reconsideration process. There needs to be a policy put in place that will help the librarian when book challenges arise. The process will be made based on district and campus guidelines and will have a reconsideration process attached to the item in question. One of my main goals is to ensure that I provide students with diverse literature and the choices I make are protected with formal policies and procedures when concerns arise. The resources that I used were the American Library Association, Why Do I Need a Policy, and Chapter 5 of the book, Collection Programs in Schools. The next topic is self-censorship. The article that I read is called Silence in the Stacks, an exploration of self-censorship in high school libraries. The article defines self-censorship as removing or refusing to purchase material they consider to be controversial because of fear of a challenge, objection, or other backlash that may arise. By using surveys and interviews, the article methodically researched schools in Texas to see if they were engaging in self-censorship and how many controversial texts they had in their collections. The findings of the article said that self-censorship occurred in 82% of 100 high schools investigated. Titles with LGBTQIA plus content were least likely to be included in collections, where only 25% of high schools had titles that were included in the list. However, 41% of high schools had books that contained profanity, drinking, and drugs. There are some problems with self-censorship. By refusing to purchase materials, you are denying students opportunities to expand their worldviews and build empathy. If a librarian is self-censoring, they are breaking one of the major tenets of library science, the right to intellectual freedom, which allows patrons to decide for themselves if they want to read the content of the book. I should be aware of my own biases during collection development process to ensure that I'm providing students access to literature with diverse perspectives. I learned that some acts of self-censorship occur as a perceived preventative measure. Librarians are sometimes unaware of self-censorship because of lack of training or inexperience. Librarians need to advocate for intellectual freedom by developing collections presenting diverse perspectives and support the intellectual growth, personal development, and recreational needs of all students. Here is the source of the article that I read. And finally, children's collection development. Good books are books kids love. Quality books should contain evocative narrative, well-developed themes, effective plot, plausible characterization, and effective read-aloud quality. Sometimes books that children choose will have immediately appeal, but you might not find that they have high quality. However, the librarian can engage readers by choosing books that have high quality and appeal to their readers. Some books have both. I think that I will try to choose books that have all of the elements defined as good quality and appeal to my students. I will try to stay up to date with the books that my students find appealing and investigate them to see if they also contain quality elements. Most of all, I will not make students feel ashamed for reading books that I might not see the appeal in as long as they have quality elements. After all, my main goal is to get students excited about reading and introduce them to literature that is high quality and has mass appeal. Here is the source for the article. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me.